Okay, we are in Austin, Texas with USC tight end commit Lake McRee. Like, let's just start with your season. You must get asked all the time, how's the knee? How you feeling? Are you back to full strength? I'm going to ask you one more time, where are you at physically now that you played a few games?
I feel great in my knee. First two games that I played, they really went well. I had no problems with my knee, but after that, I had a little. My back got tweaked a little bit in practice, so I have been sitting out these past 2 weeks just to, better be safe than sorry. It's not a big deal at all, and I'll be back this week. So, besides that, the team looks really good, and I'm really liking how we're coming together. I think we have a big season ahead of us.
What was it like to get back on the field for those two games and just show that, man, I've been through this long rehab. I'm back. This is what I do. And kind of prove yourself a little bit again.
Yeah, it was a really good feeling. I think the best word to describe it is really surreal. I didn't really settle that I was kind of back from the long rehab process until like the third drive of the first game, and it was a really cool feeling, and I couldn't ask for much more. And I'm really glad to be back.
I mentioned prove yourself. You don't really have to. You had tons of offers. You're committed to USC, so everything's kind of locked up. But personally, what did you feel coming into this season that you wanted to show people or to yourself or to whoever?
I just kind of want to show that the little glimpse that I showed them sophomore year, I'm still that player and that person on the field. But most of all, I just really want to win. I don't care. As long as we get the win and the team plays good and we get better every week, I think that's really the biggest thing for me. So, yeah.
I want to go back in time when the injury happens. Were you afraid it was going to affect your recruiting process? What were the first thoughts that kind of rushed into your head as you're going through the ACL?
As a 16, 17-year-old kid, that's like the first thing you think of is you start to freak out because as soon as I figured out it was a pretty big injury, I was like a little bit worried about that. But as time went by, I realized that it wasn't going to be that big of a deal, and the teams that really wanted me were going to put faith into me and just know that I would go through my rehab and do it well like I did. So eventually it didn't end up affecting anything, and I felt like my recruitment actually ramped up. So.
And USC was one of those programs.
Yeah.
Take us through the timeline. When do you first hear from them? What's your first reaction? And when that happens, do you know right away this could be one of the schools, or did it take some time for it to get really serious?
Well, I had an offer from them before I actually got hurt, so they had recruited me before, and I ended up committing to UT. So kind of when that happened, it slowed down a little bit.
Right.
But the injury happened, and then not too long after, I ended up deciding to step back from my commitment on UT, and then with USC and a bunch of other schools, they reached out to me with multiple coaches and sending me mail again. So. I don't think there was really a moment where they were concerned about the injury, and them with a handful of other schools that were really heavily recruiting me. So that's something that stood out to me and helped me to make my decision.
USC recruits Texas really heavily, but still it's hard to get big-time players out of the state. How much of a thought process was it for you to say, man, I can go to California and do something totally different, or I can stay here in the state? How tough was that to work through?
I've always loved California. I have my uncle lives out there, so I've had my fair share of California. I've been out there quite a few times, so I knew what I was getting when I decided to go out there. It wouldn't be a surprise or anything. So that was another thing is with COVID, I didn't get to visit the 6 other schools that I had, or the 5 other schools that I had on my list, and I knew what I was getting at USC, and I knew I couldn't really go wrong with that.
So had you been on campus before?
Yes, my sophomore year, I got to go to like the camp, and I went through the whole camp, and then got the tour, and then they ended up offering me on campus.
So that helped that you had already gotten to see that and everything else?
Yeah, that was definitely a big aspect. Is that I already knew what I was getting when I get up there.
But ultimately, what was the major selling piece that got you over the hump to say this is the place for me? What was it about their pitch, or just about your familiarity with out there? What sold you?
There's multiple moving parts to that decision, but the hospitality of the coaches is obviously the first thing that kind of sticks out to me. It's like, how bad do these guys want me? And I could tell that I was a priority on their list. The commits that were already committed there were talking to me, trying to get me to hop on board, and they were just breaking down film of how they would use me, just Zoom calls with the tight end coach, OC, assistant tight end coach, all those guys. They would just watch hours of film with them and just kind of be like, this is how we would use you, this is how we want to use you in the future. And kind of how their offense is going to evolve.
Now, we've heard before with other tight ends, they really point to Drake London and what he does in that role. Is that the same pitch they gave to you?
Yes, sir. That's exactly right.
And as you're watching those clips of him, do you see yourself like that's definitely a role that I can play?
Yeah, that's was a big part for me. Is they use his name and use his tape, and it looked a lot of some of what I do here. So I didn't think it would be that big of an adjustment from going from Lake Travis to USC in the offense wise. So yeah, I definitely feel like I could play that role.
So what's the communication been with the staff now? You've been committed for a while.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you stay in touch? What do you talk about?
Oh, it's all the time. I mean, Coach Baker, the tight end coach, calls me at least, or texts me every other day, calls me once a week. Coach Helton will call or FaceTime me once a week, and I'll hear from Graham Harrell a lot too. And then we have some of the coaches used to live out here, and they're out there now, so
Right.
I'll stay in touch with them as well. I just really hear from all of them.
I was. No, you're good. I was going to ask that. Obviously, you weren't apprehensive about going so far away from home, but to have so many Texas guys on staff there, what factor did that have in just your comfortability?
I mean, it's not something you can really think about because in the college world,
Sure.
in the next day they could be gone. So yeah, it's not something I'm banking on. But I know whether they're there or not, it's a place I want to be.
It's been a top 5 national class most of this recruiting cycle. What's it like to be a part of such a highly ranked group, and how do you feel about the class you're coming in with?
Oh, it's pretty awesome, and I think this is one of the best classes we've had. And I mean, we're pretty stacked right now, so I can't wait to get up there with those guys and just get to work.
Are there any of the other commits that you've gotten close to? I know there's a group chat I always hear about with all the commits, but have you gotten to know any guys in particular very well?
Yeah, I mean, there's that group chat. We also have a fantasy football league we're all in, so we kind of go at that. And then, but I'll talk to most of those guys. I've been in contact with Miller right up into me and his commitment. We're pretty close together.
Yeah.
So we were in contact. And then Brandon Campbell as well. I talked to him way before he was committed, and way before I think I was still committed to UT when we started becoming friends. So yeah, I've known that dude for a while, and we talk pretty often. So yeah, pretty tight with those guys.
BC's been a big recruiter for this class, so
Yeah.
he really sold you hard.
Yeah. He texts me quite often about them, how the coaches want me, and kind of how I was talking about earlier, where I felt wanted with the dudes who are already on board trying to get me there.
So there's a USC commit fantasy football league.
There is, yeah.
Who's doing the best right now?
I'm killing it.
Yeah?
I'm killing it, yeah.
What was your best draft pick?
I got like the snake draft, so I got the back-to-back picks.
Yes.
I got Lamar and Kelsey.
Okay,
So
you killed those first 2 picks.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm first place, but I've been on like a 3 or 4 game winning streak.
Nice.
So, yeah,
Nice.
not doing bad.
Well, I know our guy Alex Simpson talked to you a couple weeks ago, and we asked you about USC recruiting on our tight end. It hadn't happened yet, but Michael Trigg does commit. What are your feelings there? And obviously they lost Jack Geary from the last class.
Yeah.
They have 2 seniors, so it was a need. But how do you feel about 2 tight ends in this class?
I mean, like you said, it's a need. It's something that they are going to have to go and do, whether it was Trigg or they had to go get somebody else. So I'm just happy that they added him to the class, and I can't wait to get to work with them.
Well, just lastly, we're talking on Thursday. USC had a major announcement today. Their Boulevard Studios. It's going to be a big thing to help build guys' brands, help with the name, image, likeness stuff.
Yeah.
How'd that resonate with you?
Oh, I mean, it's awesome. I think it's cool that guys get to, just do stuff with their own name, and I think that's a pretty cool thing that they got to add to college football, especially to USC first. So I really had no clue that it was coming until like late last night. Miller texted me about it, that we were going to try to get it out there to social media, so I thought that was really cool to see.
What was your take on the video?
Oh, it was awesome. The production was crazy.
Awesome. Lake, thanks so much.
Yeah, for sure.